gentlemen, we are here. We're in the green vibe tonight. Hope you guys are all doing super, super, super well. I don't need this. Let me get squared away here, ladies and gentlemen. Curlin Family Adventures, my friends, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support you give our channel. Large channels, great channels like yours help us poor little people out more than you know. Ken is in the house. He says he's early. He's early. He took his medicine. He's awake. Dennis says tick-tock to you, Dennis. So how's everybody doing? What's going on in your part of the world? Today was Monday for me. As you all know, Monday is a very busy day in my world. And do we know why it's a busy day in my world? Monday's trash day. The highlight of my life. Taking the trash out on Mondays. John Taylor's in the house saying hello to me because I'm the handsome one. Everybody else is kind of fugly. Rick is in the house saying hello, hello, hello. So today is trash day. I did my trash. Tomorrow's in the house saying hello. Good to see you. How are you? You guys all be thinking about doing a thumbs upping? I feel like I got to sneeze. Hang on. Maybe not. Let's see. Tamara is in the house. She's over in the Philippines. It looks she's got over 30,000 subscribers. So let's thank her for joining our peasantly little world. You guys all go check her channel out also, please. Thank you for being here. My friend, your world's good morning, brother. Yes. Hello, 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 going around. Big day in my life, taking the trash out. Oh, I did kill some more wasps today. Woohoo! I finally figured out where the wasp nest was today. And it definitely wasn't where I thought it was. But I got lucky. My eagle eyes. I found them wasps. I killed them. Sprinkled them, just got them. So that makes wasp nest number 7 at the house this summer. I don't know. Maybe I'm just attract poison? I don't know. The good news is I haven't been stung. Everybody said hello to my views. JJ in the house. Tamara has a good YouTube channel. I'm looking at it. You guys can check her channel out if you will. It looks like she's got a strong channel over there in the Philippines. Let's see what else we do. So how's everybody doing tonight? Remember, be cool, become a member of the channel. Become part of the cool club, you know, the cool kids club. Do you want to be cool? So what has everybody been doing today? So we did that. I didn't do dishes today. I don't know how this works. There's only 2 people in this house, and I know I don't make any messes in the house. I have no clue how we have so many damn dirty dishes in this house. I don't understand it. I've tried really hard to get my wife to do the prison model. 1 plate, 1 spoon, 1 bowl, 1 cup. That's all you need. That's all you need. We did go to the Sam's over the weekend. We got that done. Well, she does. She's nice. You're right. She does. She does. And now let me, okay. Now, all right. She does. But here's what drives me crazy about Filipinos. One of the many things, even though trash talking time. You know what drives me crazy is when they don't seal things back up. I know maybe it's an American weird thing, but if you open a container of cookies, you put the seal back on. If you open a jar of peanut butter, you put the lid back on, right? If you open bread, you put, you know. Pat is in the house. Good to see you, brother. How are you, Patrick? Good to see you. How's your day been going? So, I get that they like to leave food out, like pants it out for day after day, day after day. And they don't mind eating it But when it's supposed to be covered, I got up this morning and I saw the pack of cookies were wide open. Like, oh, God. Patrick says, hello, good to see ya. Hope you've been doing well. AJ, what's going on in the Philippines? Hope things are going well for you, my friend. So, we did go to Sam's over the weekend, got that done. We did go to Walmart, we got that done. Gee, man, our lives are busy. Our lives are so hectic. We got a party to go to this weekend. Lorelai went to one over the weekend. I didn't go, thank God. But we are going to a housewarming party this weekend. The only reason I'm going is because I feel bad for the husband. He's an American and he's a nice guy. He is. And I know how horrible it is to be trapped in a party with 50 screaming Filipinas and you be only one or two or three guys. I understand. I can relate to this phenomenon. So I'm going to go just to support him because he is a good guy. He's a nice guy. He doesn't seem to be crazy or weird like me. So if you are going to, we need to just start developing this. No great pressure, but we got to kind of get, so I can get things organized or make sure that we know where we're going to meet at. For October the 3rd, you need to think about if you guys are going to make it October the 3rd, so we know how big of a place to book or to meet at, not really to book, but to meet at for the meetup on October the 3rd in Branson, Missouri. Remember, all is welcome. So I want you guys to start thinking and passing that along. We need to start kind of planning and soliding up some of our stuff. All is well, just a lot of rain. Glad I'm not in the flood zones. Yes. That's one of the reasons I chose not to live in Manila. I don't want to deal with the flooding. Yeah, I hope we have a good turnout too. It's not about me, it's about all of us that are actually here that want this. Ken and some others are driving the bus on this or kept talking about it. So, they kind of asked if I would put it together, so I did. Now, one thing I do know about Manila is you got the bay on one side and you got a river on the other side. So when you guys get flooding, you're kind of like between a hard place and a rock and a hard place when flooding comes. So yeah, but October the 3rd, Branson, Missouri, family trip. You can bring all your kids, your family, your dogs. So everybody's welcome. We're going to meet up on Saturday. We just kind of need to start figuring out where we're going to meet up at and stuff like that. So once we figure out who all is actually going to be attending, then we can adjust things accordingly. Patrick, sub to you, Tamara. Thank you for doing that. Curlin family was in the house earlier. She's got a great channel. Patrick has a great channel, so you guys check Patrick's out. Hello, Rick. Rick has a great channel, by the way. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a live stream in the morning, of course. I'm working through my books. I have decided that if anybody wants the books after I'm done reading them, let me know. Now, granted, I only have one set of them. But if you want them, let me know, and I'll mail them to you as long as you're in the U.S. Because you got to remember, even though I'm handsome, charming, and rich, I'm not sending you I'm not paying $400 to ship some books to the Philippines. So you got to be in the U.S. Not even Canada. But after I get done reading them in a few months, we'll have gone through them all. If somebody wants them, just let me know. Now, just keep in mind, they will have a lot of highlighted areas, a lot of scribblings all through it, but you can still read them. So, what did everybody have for breakfast or dinner? I had chicken salad and Doritos for dinner. That's what I had. And I had a cookie for dessert. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to have yogurt and tropical fruit for my breakfast. I'm very excited. Patrick, I love me some crab salad. The only problem is, I'm just going to give you a warning. unless you paid $30 or $40 for crab salad, you got the imitation stuff. And the imitation crab salad is something that you shouldn't eat. But I like it. I used to make it until I figured out what artificial crab salad is made out of. Don't eat it. Find something else, like chicken breast or something else. But real crab salad is fantastic. But man, how they make that artificial crab, it's like, eating rubber and plastic. It's not good for you. But it is good eating. The fish won't even eat it. I've tried using it as fish bait in salt water. The fish won't eat it. That tells you something, right? If you put ice cream out and the dogs won't eat it, if you put, food out and the animals won't eat it, if you use it for bait and nothing will eat it, there's a problem with it. So, just a thought. But now you can use some crab seasoning and just make a vegetable salad and put some crab seasoning in with the crab flavoring. Spill some more tea. Hello all, Dennis is in the house. What kind of tea do you want spilled? We know all kinds of tea, man. I like tea, by the way. I'm drinking iced tea tonight, not my Lipton tea. I did buy a new case of Lipton tea, but tonight I'm just drinking leftover iced tea. No Lipton tea. I look at my tea. I do have we haven't heard much from the Philippines, Dennis, to be honest. I mean, there's normal drama. The one family I've been telling you about, whose daughter or the sister is living overseas and not sending money home. Well, apparently, this is her third month in a row not sending any money home. So I guess they're getting nervous. Another one of Lorelei's friends had some major surgery there, but she's doing all right. So, Big John's in the house. John Balut is in the house. How are you, my friend? Everybody say hello to John. John's busy these days. He's a man, a myth, a legend. He's the man, the myth, the legend. We were talking about you the other day, John. Was your ears burning? Was your ears burning? Maybe that's why you're here tonight. Your ears were burning. We were talking about eating liver the other night, and I told everybody how much you enjoy eating just plain old ass raw liver. You just go out in the woods and you catch an animal, and you cut them open and you grab the liver and eat it. We're glad you're doing good. It looks like you're having fun with the boy this summer. So it looks like you guys are having a good summer. Patrick says, hello, John. Good to see you. Long time no see. So we don't know a lot of gossip. This weekend at the housewarming party. Now, granted, we're going to a party. We'll see how it goes, but it should be all right. Yeppers, John says. You got that right. You got it right, man. You got it right. I do have a doctor's appointment this week. I'm going to see if they can cut my neck off. So I asked the other day if the doctor would cut my legs off, and he said no, bastard. So this week I got to go to a different doctor, and I'm going to see if he'll cut my neck off. So liver and onions, I can't stand onions. I don't like liver and onions, but I do like liver and mushrooms. But our good friend, Big John Balut in the house, he's a good guy. He eats a lot of interesting critters. John says, hello to you, Patrick. Good to see ya. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking, but you think, what are my odds that the doctor is going to cut my neck off? Just wondering. You guys want to make some wagers? See if I can convince the doctor to cut my neck off. Well, technically, I'm not actually seeing a doctor. Apparently, I have to see a physician's assistant first because, I don't qualify or I'm not important enough of a patient right now to be seen by a real doctor. I have to be seen by a physician assistant first, and then they're going to charge the insurance company a shitload of money, and then they're going to let me see the doctor if I get through that stage. John Taylor says, I bet you they won't cut your neck off. Well, probably not. They're cowards. I would do it. If I was a doctor and you said, hey, I think I'd like to have my arm cut off, I'd go, well, all right, come on in. Hey, I'd really like to have my neck cut off. Come on in. All right, well, here, sign the paperwork. How much can we get out of your insurance company? Yes, I am. Apparently, I got to pass the mustard before I can see the real doctor. You know, we'll see how that goes. It's early in the morning, so Lorelei's not going to go with me. She's going to sleep. I'd rather her, for this visit, not go because they're not going to do anything, except for maybe tell me to lose weight. They'll probably do x-rays, but they're not going to do anything. Lucky today. We didn't get above 100 degrees today. First time in a long time we didn't get over above 100 degrees. So I watered my front plants today. I did tell the lawn mowing guy don't come tomorrow because my grass is dead. I don't want him coming and making it worse. Woo! Don't do that. All right. We just learned a new lesson, everybody. Woo-hoo! Smoking butt farts. Woo! New lesson. New life lesson number 1. Do not have a menthol cough drop and then immediately drink really cold iced tea. Oh my goodness, great balls of fire. What else is going on in y'all's life? Does anybody got anything going? Dennis, what's going on in your life? How are you feeling, by the way? But what are you guys doing? What's happening in your world? How can we make things better for your world? I mean, my world couldn't be any better, you know, unless I didn't have any pain. And I lived in a nicer place and had a nicer car, or cars, and had more hats and tropical shirts and watches, more fishing equipment. But other than that, I have a pretty good life. So what's going on in y'all's world? What is the deal? I am getting ready to make some more bread later in this week. I think I'm going to make some sourdough bread and freeze it. So I got a new bread knife. So I'm really excited about this bread knife I bought. How pathetic is your life when you get excited about a bread knife, right? You can tell I don't have anything else going on in the world. Keith is in the house. Keith, how are you doing? How's your channel? I did order Lily more toys today. We buy these boxes of squeaky toys. They're like 88 cents a piece. We get a big case of them. And we give them once in a while. But we're out of them because she literally will chew them up and spit them out in about 5 minutes. But for 5 minutes, she's the happiest dog in the world. Keith says he's doing good so far. Patrick, how are you doing on yours? The other thing, tomorrow, I'm going to be releasing a new video about some laundry soap for pets that I got. So a company sent me a thing saying, hey, we'll give you $10,000 and a bag of laundry soap if you will wash your doggy stuff in our laundry soap. So I said, okay. So you get a video out there tomorrow about this bag of laundry soap. It's a short one. It's only about 3 minutes or less. But it's pretty good. Lily's in it, so you guys will at least have that going for you. Ken is saying, hello, Keith. Good to see you. Ken, are you making, I know you don't have to give me details, Ken, but are you making progress on all the things you've been working on the last couple of weeks? So you don't got to share your details, but I'm just asking in general, do you feel like you're making progress? More or less? All right, that's good. Keep putting one foot before the others, I think, is good. My OnlyFans channel is growing by leaps and bounds. You know, it is. I'm very excited that my OnlyFans page is rocking and rolling. Realtor was here today, so that is good. That is good. That means the realtor has faith that the deed is clear and that she can make it happen. Because real estate people don't want any hiccups. They want to be able to move swiftly without hindrance, right? So that's a good thing. Trying to figure out what Lily was doing. Yes, we agreed to wait for that to happen. Good, good. Patrick's saying, Keith, what's new with you, brother? Good to see you. I think it's good. I think everybody's doing well from everybody I can talk to behind the scenes. It seems like nobody's having any real drama right now. Everybody seems to be doing well. I know Lorelai went to a party over the weekend, and she had people talk to her, which is kind of funny, that we don't see very often, but they talked to her and told her that they, I guess, they had questions about things that I've been doing on social media, which I think is funny. So they barely watch, which is great. I'm happy that all of my local community members are watching, subscribing to our channel. I know I'm probably enlightening them and building and changing their world for the better. All of y'all, right? That's what my goal. So, other than that, we don't have a lot going on, to be honest. You know, I got a lot of stuff I need to do, but I'm just not doing it. I just do. See, my neck is causing me, I think my neck is causing all these headaches. And a lot of my dizzy, I think 75% of me getting dizzy is my neck versus my heart. So that's why I made a doctor's appointment. I just got dizzy again. Seems like if I move my head too fast, I get dizzy. Or I get a headache. I get blurred vision if I move my head too fast. So I don't know what that's all about, but maybe we'll find out in the next 2 or 3 years, after they milk the insurance company for everything they can get out of it and try to give me a bunch of drugs I don't need. So we'll see. I am supposed to go down to what they call the old people exercise place and see about getting involved in old people exercise. Well, Patrick, and I'm looking into that, to be honest, a chiropractor for my back. But before I have a chiropractor grab my neck and do anything to it, I really wanted to have it x-rayed and looked at from an orthopedic surgeon standpoint, because I don't want a chiropractor to do more damage. Now, once I get a real medical report and I know what the problem is or the structure is, then maybe doing some adjustments would be helpful. I can do that on my back now because I know what my back is. But I don't know what the inside of my neck looks like. So that's why I want to do that first. Yeah, I think chiropractic services are good. I really do. They're not really expensive. I think maybe $75 a visit or something. I don't know if my insurance covers those or not, but I got friends that go and they only pay about $75 a visit. I have neck problems. Broken neck is no fun. You get dizzy also. Yeah, mine stems from this. And this is another one of those lessons I learned in my life. Football coaches are idiots. Football coaches are liars. What they want to do is manipulate you to think that football is the most important thing there is in your life. So, and I'll give you an example, which is me. When I played defensive tackle, my coach had us doing these neck exercises where we wore a harness on our heads and we lifted heavy weights up and down to build your neck muscles and these shoulder muscles. Now, did it build them up? Yeah. But I think it's what started to F up my neck. So when I was bench pressing 400 pounds, the coaches don't give a shit how bad you're going to hurt in 30 years. They're just trying to win a game today. And they're willing to sacrifice your sons and daughters to get what they want. Whether it's football, baseball, basketball, gymnastics, you got to understand this. If you have young people in your lives, the worst thing they can do is to get suckered into this belief that, one, they're going to be an NBA star, they're going to be a college football player, a professional football player, because the odds are very low. But two, these idiot coaches want to win so bad that they will allow your children to get hurt and not think a thing about it. Broken arm, no problem, because I broke my arm playing football. They don't give a shit, Just keep that in mind. I think sports is great, and I love sports, and I think people ought to play sports, but I don't think you got to be, you got to think about the rest of your life. And the statement my coach gave me was, after I broke my arm, was, well, you better get back in the gym and lifting, because you only have a short couple of years to play football, and you got the rest of your life to worry about something else. Well, go F yourself. Yeah, now I have to, the rest of my life, have a bad back, bad neck, bad arms, bad shoulders, bad knees, because I blew my knees out, leg squatting over 600 pounds, So, yeah, kiss my ass. I'm not bitter about it, I swear. I swear, I'm not bitter about it. But it's just something that people need to really think hard about. They got a short window to play sports, but we got a much bigger window to live our lives. So selling your body out for a little bit of high school success, a little bit of college success, yeah, I don't know about that, I don't know about that. I have a problem with that now that I'm old, so. And I don't remember the glory days. You know what I mean? I don't remember the glory days. I remember the pain I'm in today. I don't remember all the fun it was to kill people on the football field. The weightlifting. I don't remember any joys. The girls hanging on your arms like arm candy as a reference to Dennis. Well, I kind of remember them. But I don't remember anything else. I don't remember the accolades, the ass kissing, the free beer. I don't remember that. What I remember is the fact that my neck doesn't work anymore. I want to be like No Neck Ed, or Big Neck Ed, whatever the hell his name is. So, and have no neck. But we got to do what we got to do. Big John Malud says, you know what? I broke my collarbone in football. Now I got bad arthritis in my shoulders. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I get it. I don't know. I really do have I think a legitimate point to make about selling our soul for high school glory. you know, it wasn't worth it now that I look back upon it. Just wasn't. I feel sorry for some of the real athletes who at 50 years old can't walk. You know, they can barely move, you know. You see them walking through an airport and they're like a 900-year-old man, you know, or you see them in public and they can barely stand up. So, you know, you got to balance that. So, I don't know. But I don't have kids to give advice to. So I give you guys all the advice that you can pass down to your youngsters. Just, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it or not. I would, you know, hindsight's 20/20. I wish I would have been a better student. I wish I would have been smarter, not big and strong and tough. Looking back upon life, I do wish I had more aptitude for mathematics and science. John, I got offered myself. You know, even though I missed most of my senior year, I got offered myself. A couple of small colleges here, podunk colleges here in Arkansas. They were recruiting me to come, and I think I'd have been lucky to get a partial scholarship. They were willing to give me partial. But it wasn't the fact that I had a moment of clarity. It was more the fact that I was having too much fun hanging out, drinking beer, and chasing girls than I did with the concept of wanting to go to college. Back when I graduated high school, I had no desire to go to college. I had no desire to spend another day in high school. Not one more day did I want to spend in high school. In fact, my senior year, I barely went to class. So the thought of going to college just didn't work for me. It wasn't until I was 22 or 23 that I went, you know, working all these shitty low-paying jobs suck. And I had a little bit of an epiphany. I was a truck stop manager, is what I was. I managed all the girls' dentists. I got 10% of the girls. The house got 10%, and I was the house dentist. But I managed a truck stop, small fuel stop. Technically, it wasn't a truck stop. It was classified as a fuel stop. Big difference. So I was the manager for them. And I met a guy who was our regional or district or VP, whatever he was. I don't know what, you know, the bigger guy. And I remember his name because he played for the Kansas City Chiefs. His name was Mike Birdsong. You guys may recognize him. I think he played for Kansas City or Denver. Mike Birdsong was his name. Big old boy. And I got talking to him, and he liked what I did, and he promoted me. He offered me a promotion. It's like, look, we'd really like for you to become a regional manager over like 12 or 13 other truck stop fuel stops. Back in the day, it was big money. I mean, for me, it would have been I think it was $60,000 plus a company car. So, and they paid the fuel of the car, obviously. Big money for a 23, 24-year-old idiot kid who barely had a high school education. So I thought about it, and I almost took it. But then it dawned on me, hey, if this guy thinks I could be something more than a piece of low-life garbage manager, then maybe I should try to figure out how to get a job and go to school of something I actually wanted to do. Because I didn't want to be that. I wanted to be back then a high school football coach and a history teacher. That didn't work out either, but that's what I wanted. So that's when I started college. Part-time, community college, basic steps, the early academics, everything. The prereq courses, slow. That's how I started college. Because I thought, well, if they really want to pay me and they think I can do better, then maybe I should figure out how to do something I want to do. And that's what got me on the track to go into school. So I took a few classes, did okay in them, and then got busy in life, didn't have the money, missed a few years. Finally got my shit together, went back and started doing it again, and went through and completed it over a number of years. And then, of course, as a college employee, I kept going to college because I got the classes for free. So that's what I did. But maybe hindsight's 2020. Maybe I could have been the VP of the company by now. But the problem is the company is no longer, it doesn't exist. I think British Petroleum bought out MAPCO. The company I worked for was called MAPCO. But I think British Petroleum, BP bought them, or Chevron bought them, one of the two. So, what are you going to do? You got to do something to make some money. And I had fun being a truck stop manager, I admit, but it's kind of like working at a convenience store. It can be a lot of fun, but you're never really going to go anywhere. It's not something that, a 50-year-old man ought to be proud of doing, working at a convenience store. Even if you're a manager making a couple $100 a month or a week, I hate to pick on those people that do that job, but it's a shit job. It's kind of like being a nursing assistant at a nursing home. It's the bottom of the food chain for the medical field. Being a nurse's aide at a nursing home is the bottom of the barrel. Working at convenience stores, working at McDonald's is pretty much the bottom of the basement. Working at Walmart is bottom basement jobs. But if you need a job, you need a job. Wow. Big John says, my old lady, my wife, my young woman that I chase around, got hired today to be a computer technician for computer tech for Newtown, North Dakota school with teacher housing. Her house rent is $500 something a month. So are you guys moving to North Dakota, John? Or is she just going to go over there and work and come back? Because I know you guys just moved not that recent. So are you guys going to pack up the family and go live in North Dakota now? I know, well, that's what I was getting ready to say, John. North Dakota has a lot of Filipino teachers in it. And when Lorelei's sister was teaching in Chicago, I try to tell her that there's a couple places. One, North Dakota is a really good place besides the cold weather to teach in for Filipinos. It's easy to get a job there. But she went to Chicago thinking she was going to be king of Chicago. Now she's back home and can't get a job in America. But I told her, once again, look, now, because she wants to come back in 2 years and reapply to come back to America. So Lorelei's sister hated America. Oh, it's the worst fucking place ever. Ah, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Now she's trying her hardest to get back to America. So I told her and said, your option maybe get to go to North Dakota. Kind of moving. It's a hometown. I graduated from there. All right. So you know the territory very well. I do think it's good for her to have a career and a job. I think Filipinos do well to have a career and a job. I do. But so I told Lorelei's sister, well, look, Chicago's not going to want you back because of the way you behaved. But you may get on in another agency who has a connection to North Dakota where they're desperate for teachers. Well, how it works is this, the teaching thing. And I don't know what her sister's doing, to be honest. So if you're from the Philippines and you work through an agent or any country, and you work through an agency and they bring you to America, you usually get a 3-year contract. Now, you got to pay back all of the fees and costs involved. So you go to Chicago, Dallas, the Carolinas, North Dakota, or Houston, or some of the popular places. Phoenix, Yeah. So those are the popular places in high demand. You get a 3-year contract. You have the option to extend it for 2 years if the school wants you. Whatever the sister did, she didn't get that opportunity. So she had to go back home because I think she pissed people off. One thing that she did, and Lorelai tried her best. You know how it is with the Filipinos. My wife tried her best to teach her how to behave in American society, how to be professional here. But she tried to jump schools and go around her principal, I believe. So she didn't like the school she was at, but she thought she was so good, she could just go ask somebody else, and you can't do that, So, she has to go home for 2 years. Now, the problem is this. She's supposed to be teaching actively for 2 years. Now, she's not teaching this school year, so I don't know the details, but I believe this is going to happen. Her sister has to be an active teacher in the Philippines to qualify to go and get hired by an agency. But if she hasn't worked this year as a teacher, which she hasn't, in the Philippines, she's still going to have to show up for 2 years in the Philippines. So that puts her 3 additional years back in the Philippines. If she would have came back and set up a teaching job in the Philippines right away, then she could have started her 2-year clock where she could reapply. So I think that's the hair splitting, that she has to be an active teacher for 2 years before you can come back and apply here. But you also got to have an agency, because there's multiple agencies, that's willing to bring you back. Her current agency, because I don't know what happened, may not be willing to hire her again. I don't know. But yes, she can come back and teach. Yes. Or if she can get another agency to send her to Australia or New Zealand or some other country where they need teachers, then yeah, she could do that. But she has to wait 2 years. But I think she has to be an active teacher for 2 years. So sitting around for a year and doing nothing is not going to help her. That's how I read the visas. That's how I read the program back when I studied it. Because at one point she wanted to bring her kids here, but not her husband. And all of that drama, but then she didn't want to pay for the kids to come here, so she cut that out. It is interesting. And there's a big difference between nurses. Patrick says, my connection went out, but I am back. I am back in the house. Thank you for that. Did you guys all give us a thumbs up, by the way? So if you're a nurse, you get hired on by an agency. Same process, but you become a permanent resident when your feet hit the ground. So you don't have to go back ever. You got to pay your agency back for all the work they did to get you to America, but you can hit the ground running and you can stay here. You can stay here. You can bring your spouse and kids over. That's how the nursing works. That's why we tell everybody, every girl that wants to come to America, don't get married, become a nurse, and get your happy ass to America then. Come here and get married to some American guy. And yes. John says there's a Native American funded school on the reservation. They have different qualifications. I'm sure they do. I'm sure every school district, this is one thing I learned, you do have the U.S. standard, right? So the teachers have to pass the American boards, just like the nurses. But each school district has their own standard. You know what I mean? So it makes sense that a school on a Native reservation has their own criteria. Chicago's criteria may be different from the Carolinas, different from Houston and Dallas, so forth. Each state is probably different. Well, I know each state is different. I do know that. You can't, if you're a teacher in Arkansas, you cannot just go teach in Arizona. You cannot. You can take take the exams and get qualified and certified to teach in another state, but you don't automatically qualify for another state. There are states that you do. I think in Arkansas, Louisiana crosses borders. If you're certified in Arkansas, you're certified in Louisiana, for an example. But you may not be certified in Texas. Oh, I didn't know that on the nurse. How can you not know these things? Married to a Filipina for 200 years. Ken? Man. But yeah, the nursing program's the way to go. If you want to come to America, or if you, look, there's a lot of guys that are full of shit on the internet. There's a lot of guys that are saying one, and they can't do what they're going to say they're going to do. They just can't. So they drag girls on and on and on. But one way to get somebody here, Tim is in the house saying, good evening. Hello, Tim. How are you, my friend? But it's like we tried to get my wife's sister's nieces to go to nursing school. We offered to pay for nursing school and the oldest boy. We said flatly, if you'll go to nursing school, we'll cover the cost. Because the intent is to get one of them to come to America so then they can apply for everybody to come to America. Right? Well, the sister threw a fit and said, no, I don't want my children to think anybody but me is paying for their college. So, just send me all of the money all at once, and I will dish it out little by little to the kids. Right? Didn't happen. John says, hey, Ken. Hey, Tim. John's in the house. Tim. Sorry for being late. I didn't have my internet connection today. Ruh-roh. Uh-oh, that's not good. We're glad you're here, even if it's late. Ken is always late, so, you being late once out of 20 times, you're forgiven. So Ken says, hello, Big John. So we offer to do that, but no. And we're not stupid enough to turn the money over to her sister. We're just not. We would gladly pay the bills to the school and gave them an allowance to go to college. So that didn't work out. Laura, we tried that. It didn't work out. Except for tonight, you were early. That is correct. You had your long nap. You woke up early from your slumber. Lorelai has a couple of girlfriends that she's been friends with since they were in their teens, since they got out of high school and had to go work. So there's a couple of girls. One's named Karen and the other one is called Chris. So, and what we've offered to do is the same thing. We've offered to pay for their oldest one, if they want. They don't have to. If they want to go to nursing school with the intent of bringing mama over and the rest of the family, if they want, then we will cover their nursing school fees and costs and everything and that way. And you might ask, well, why in the hell would you do that? Well, the logic for me is so that Lorelai has her best friends in America and they can all grow old together. Because I'll be dead in 9.5 or less years. So she needs to have people that so I'm willing to pay. And we're doing that. Right now, we are supplementing every month the high school kids, making sure all the education costs is covered. So we already do that. But if they want to go to nursing school, we will cover that 100%. And then we'll even help them get to America expense-wise. We'll help them out. If they get a nursing job where we live, we'll put them up in our house. Because I think it's really important for my wife to have friends that she can trust. Because I hate to say it, as many of the people from our community that watches our channel and listens to me, I don't mean to burst your bubbles, but there's very, very few of you people around us, listen to me everybody, in my community, that we would even consider trusting. My wife is more trusting than I am, and I drive the boat. Very few of you out there that we would consider trusting. So I want to surround my wife by people that she's trusted for years. And to be honest, I have tested and they've proven to be worthy. Pat says, hello, Tim, that's awesome. Yes. Tim says, John, hello, John. John's in the house. His young, beautiful wife got a new job, Tim. My wife was paying for the sister's cancer treatment. She had an operation yesterday. Well, I hope she gets feeling better. I mean, I hate to say it. There's a lot of good things about the Philippines. But one thing my wife has come to figure out, she doesn't want to live in the Philippines. She's had so many family members, her own age group, and people that were healthy get a little bit of sickness in the Philippines and not survive it. So she's got other family members who died in their early 30s because they got an infection. They got this problem. And being in the Philippines, they didn't survive. Her aunt, who died the last one, who was in her 50s, got a little sick and died. In America, or Germany, where she lived all her life, she wouldn't have died. So my wife recognizes that. Her chance of survival and being healthy and having the medical things that she needs as she gets older, especially with a family history, is better in America. Even though we own land and all that stuff in the Philippines, and we don't hate the Philippines or anything like that, but that's what she recognizes. So, unfortunately, medical here is a gamble. It is. It's a gamble. It's a big gamble. One, a lot of people don't seek medical treatment because they don't have the money. That's sad. Two, the quality can be iffy. No matter how much money you have, it can be iffy. So here, no matter where you're at, you can go and seek medical help. So that's one of the big reasons my wife, I don't think, would ever live there again. And so we're planning for her to live out her days in America, and that's why I'm trying to bring her friends over. Because I can't trust her nieces and nephews. I don't trust them. I don't. And we have a couple other friends that I can trust to be around my wife, but not many. Because she's going to need a support system, a friendship with people that are trustworthy the older she gets. Just the way it is. Just the way it is. And of course, once again, she can make a lot more money in America than she ever could in the Philippines, right? So even at the age of 60, she being my wife, who's doing really well in the corporate world, hell, hopefully in the next year or two, she'll be making over $100,000 a year. And I can go fishing more, right? So she can make good money. She can have a very viable career as an old lady in America versus the Philippines. Tim says, I had to get a second and third opinion about an infection. Yeah. And sometimes you got to get 4 and 5 opinions and kind of hope for the best. Or you got to do your own self-doctrine. You got to start figuring out what you think is wrong with it and dealing with it. So the Philippines is risky for that. But all third world countries are that way. It's not just the Philippines. So compared to first world countries, it just is. So you got to figure out what the logic is for you to live in the Philippines. The other thing she knows, that whether she admits it or not, or talks about it, that if I killed over dead and she went to go live at one of the places in the Philippines, well, everybody around her would want her money. They would see her as somebody who must be rich because she lived in America forever, right? And so she wouldn't know who to trust. It was a UTI, ouch. Those can be painful, my friend. So at least here, she may not have anybody she can trust, but she's not going to have people pressuring her, or she can handle the pressure here. That's what I think. I think that's a contributing factor. And of course, she knows that my health, if we lived there, wouldn't probably work well because I get too bored too easily. The financial situation is just better in America. It just is. I know a lot of people love the Philippines and they love living there. They love living in Thailand and Japan, which is a first world country. But all of these different places. But you got to figure out what your own personal needs are, your personal desires. How do you want to live out your days? And that's what you got to think about. And so we've got a lot of friends that are Lorelei's age, that in America, their health would greatly improve. I know it sounds weird because a lot of Americans, they say, oh my God, I got so much healthier when I went to the Philippines. And I did too. I had more energy in the Philippines because of the weather and the fresh food. But I was bored shitless in the Philippines. When they come from the Philippines to America, they get access to medical care, which helps them improve their health. So now maybe they're going to eat crap food in America and they're going to gain weight, which they all seem to do, or majority of them. So maybe they're not, it's a trade-off. But at least here, if you get a little sick, you can go to the doctor. You stub your toe in the Philippines, you can get an infection and be dead in a week. So it's just something to keep in mind. But I think everybody ought to do what's best for them and what they think is best. All we can do is what's best for us, and tell you why we do it or don't do it. And I don't think the medical situation is going to get better in the Philippines anytime soon. I don't. The Philippines is going to be stuck where they're at for another 100 years. It's just not going to get better. Not that the people don't want it to be better, but the rich are the rich control it. If it's not a good investment for the wealthy, then it's not going to happen. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think we all know first world countries have better health care than the, third world countries. Is the trade-off worth it, I don't know. For us, it's not, I guess. But for some, it is. It is. Depends on how much bad health you have, right? And I do think, and I've told people this, and this is one thing I'm really excited to see in the world of the Philippines. There's a whole lot of young people, and I mean men, in the age of their mid-20s to their mid-30s going to the Philippines now. There's a lot of backpacker type people going to the Philippines. And I think that's really great because I think in order to really enjoy and get the most out of the Philippines, you should be young like AJ. AJ's a young man compared to some of us. He's living his best life in the Philippines. Some of these other men and people, young men that I've talked to, they're very mobile. They're very healthy. They can bounce around and take the beating like nobody's business. They can tolerate being on a bus for 6 hours on the roads in the Philippines and get off the bus and be okay. Us old people, we get on those buses for 6 hours and we're a broken down body, right? So I think it's good that a lot of younger men are doing this. They're looking for women. They're looking, I told you guys this before, I'm really astonished how many young American men don't want anything to do with American women. They want to go find an Asian girlfriend and an Asian wife. I know a 20-year-old, 20 years old, who asked me about this because he at 20 years old, he didn't want anything to do with American girls. Nothing. At 20 years of age, he didn't want anything to do with American women. That's really bad. I get some of the people that are 50, 40, who's been married and divorced going, I had enough of that shit. But a 20-year-old who's never been married, only dated a handful, come on, how about, it has to be getting bad. It has to be getting bad. So I'm happy to see that there's a lot of younger people going to the Philippines and hanging out and spending time. So I think that's a good thing for the Philippines overall. I really do. And I think it's a lot of good things for the women of the Philippines because maybe that gives the girls in the Philippines an option to marry somebody who's not 80 years old. They don't got to go after great-great-grandpa. I saw a funny on Facebook today. What was it called? Let me see if I can write this down. The funny was, it was some really good-looking, cute Filipina girl, maybe 20, and some old guy. And I think the caption was, from the girl's point of perspective, was, meet my new huz wallet. Meet my new huz wallet. I think of how they said it. Huz wallet. Yeah. Husband/wallet. I think that's what the joke was today. Huz wallet. So, but I do think it's good for the girls in the Philippines, because now maybe they're being able to marry people more their own age. Now, I'll tell you some gossip right now. I don't know if Dennis is still listening. He likes his good gossip. We know a couple right now, and I don't know all the details, but here's what's happening. And I talked to Lorelai about this weekend. So you guys get your cheese whiz ears on. I'm going to tell you a story. There's a young man named Bill. He happens to be friends with a guy named John. John is married to a Filipina and has been for a long time. Now, that's in a story in itself, how they got married. But John's wife, Jill, the Filipina, tells, hey, Bill, John's friend, I have a sister. Would you like to meet her and be friends with her? Sure. Jill's sister, let's call her Lil. I'm trying to write notes so I remember these names. So Lil, the sister, wants to come to America really bad because she sees that sister Jill is living the good life in America compared to the Philippines. And all of that. Woo-wee! I got to pack my bags and go to America, right? So Lil says, yes, I like Bill. I will be happy to get to know Bill. So over a couple of years of dating, I guess they decided to do the K1. I'm going to do some timelines. Let's say that last July 1st, they got the K1 visa processed, and Lil from the Philippines comes, and in 90 days, they got married to, what was his name? Bill. So Lil and Bill gets married. Woohoo! Right? Now, here's part of what pissed me off, and I told Lorelai that I didn't like about this situation. Well, apparently, within a year now, a little bit over a year, Lil is divorcing Bill. Got it? New Filipina from the Philippines, got married. Within a year, she's going to divorce her husband. They say it's because Bill isn't, what do they say? He doesn't seem to spend a lot of money. Maybe he doesn't have a lot of money. Apparently it's a money thing. Now, here's the pissy thing that I think is absolutely asinine and wrong. Now, and this is what Lorelai and I talked about over the weekend. The fact that John, the brother-in-law, and Jill, the biological Filipina sister, since day one of the 3-year relationship, and from day one, apparently, of whatever her name is, Lil, coming to America to meet up with Bill to get married, had told Lil, hey, you can come and live with us in our state, in our house. If that doesn't work out, you just pack your shit and come on down to us. Been doing it from day one. So the plan was, poor old Lil was going to marry Bill, get to America, and then she's going to come live with John and Jill. No real intentions. Or if she did have intentions, once she got to America, and John, the brother-in-law, and the sister kept saying, hey, because I heard him say this personally, because I was at an event where John, Jill, Bill, and Lil were at, and a bunch of other people. And John kept telling us that if it doesn't work out with Lil and Bill, Lil will come live with them. So I told my wife, I said, here's the problem I have with that. Lil didn't give her marriage a chance. Maybe she never intended to be married. She just hustled the guy to get to America. But she never gave her marriage a chance or tried because she knew she had another house to come to of John and Jill's house. She knew she already had a place to land, a place to live, food to eat. She had no reason to stay married to Bill. She had no reason to work it out, to work through the troubles, because we all know the first few years of marriage is a nightmare, especially with different cultures. But they gave her a way out from day one. So she had no desire to fight for her own marriage. That's what pisses me off. Let's see, Tim, it was a comment at Tim, Brother Tim. Yes. So, apparently, Lil, this week or next week or in the next couple of months, has packed her shit and she's going to come, or maybe she already did it, I don't know. She's going to come live with John and Jill. And John and Jill are dysfunctional people. They're not bad people, they're just dysfunctional. They like chaos. So what's really sad is they probably think in their weird, warped minds, wow, look how great we are. We're taking in Jill's sister. We are the greatest people in the world. You know, everybody should like us and worship us and think how great we are because here we are saving my sister. Not recognizing that they've caused the failure in the marriage. They put a wedge in the marriage to make sure that marriage would never succeed. But they think they're heroes because now little old Lil is going to come and live with them and they're going to save this girl. Now, what they probably don't know, or what Lil probably doesn't know, is they're going to manipulate her, use her. She's going to become their house servant. Or if she gets a job, she's going to be paying a lot of money to them. So Lil doesn't understand that these two people here can't function money well. They can't manage money very well. And I know this. I know this. So poor old Lil's going to come down here thinking she hit the gold mine. She's in America. She's living over here for free. Well, until you get a job. Or they're going to make you clean house every day. Just like in the Philippines, how they treat people. They're going to treat you like a slave. Tim says, thank you, Patrick. We appreciate that. Welcome, Brother Tim. So that's a little bit of the drama that we've been hearing about, we talked about this weekend. But I'm more, and I really don't care on the scheme, but it bothers me to think that the brother-in-law and the sister didn't tell them to fight for their marriage. Didn't tell them they need to work it out and figure it out. They need to go to counseling. They need to realize that it takes time and effort to figure out how to live together. Because when you have two people, one who lives in a foreign country, or different countries, and the only time that you're together is on vacation when you go to the Philippines, and everybody's on their best behavior. Because when we go to the Philippines as monthly millionaires, we're there for a month, and we're spending money like we're Elon Musk and Bill Gates all rolled into one. And we're getting all the nookie we want because the girl is all excited going, woohoo! I got my American coming to the Philippines. I can show off to everybody. So, sounds like it might have been that way from yeah, I agree. I think it was part of the plan. If it wasn't, I think from the beginning, Ken, I really believe this. I think maybe in some sense they went, hey, it'd be really nice if Lil and Bill hit it off, right? But even if you don't, Lil, tell him by the sister and the brother-in-law, But Lil, even if you don't quite hit it off, just go with it so we can get you to America. It'd be nice if they hit it off and had a good relationship. That was part of it. So these guys are doing the temporary living things together. You go stay in a hotel or a resort for 3 months or a month at a time. Or you go to different places and different islands. You're taking the girl with you. Maybe you go see the family. You buy everybody gifts. Blah, blah, blah. You're blowing money like no end. There's no end to it. You get a lot of sex. You're all excited. Man, she's blowing you here, blowing you there, and you're just blowing it and going. You like it. I like it. I like it. I want more of it. So you decide, hey, this is not a bad thing, you know. Because I'm going to tell you, and I got a video on it. I just haven't posted it. I made a video. Because I finally figured out a while back why Filipino women are so very good at attracting men. I made a video. I got it in my warehouse right here on my desktop. I just haven't released the video. I'm waiting. But I figured it out. I really did. I got the answer to the problem, or to the solution. I got it. So, you get back to America, and the girl's going, oh my God. Come back, baby. Come back. Tony's in the house. What's the answer? I can't tell you. You're going to have to watch my video when I put it out. That's the rule. I'll have a video out soon that will give you the answer. John says they woo men, but the secret of them wooing men, how do they do it, John? I have figured out the four. I've got it figured out. I got it figured out. And you're right, wooing is part of it. My girlfriend doesn't want to go to the States. No, because she's perfectly happy in the Philippines with you. She has a great setup in the Philippines. Why would she? Tony says, well, I better watch it because I made plans to go to the Philippines. Clickbait, yes, sir. You got to click them baits, buddy. When are you going to the Philippines, and what part, Tony? What part of the Philippines are you going to? So, they know how to drive men crazy, want to come back so badly, or do the K-1 visa. They just do. It's just the way it is. So you will sell your soul to make this happen. Now, when you get you here, you got two people that have never lived together. You got 90 days to get married, and 90 days you're living together. You've spent maybe 90, 120, maybe 190 days max together usually, if you're lucky. Some of the other ones have spent longer, but let's say all the time you've ever spent together is 3 or 4 months. But now you're slammed together. K-1 time, marriage time, bill time, food time, job time, stress time, adjustment of status, all of that drama put together in one household, and you can't get rid of each other. At least it's not raining. Yes, Tim. I was thinking about going to Dumaguete. Why would you go to Dumaguete? And that's an honest question. It's not a funny question. It's an honest question, Tony. Why do you want to go to Dumaguete? Let me follow up that question is, why do you want to go to the Philippines? And be honest, what is your purpose in going to the Philippines? Because when you understand your true purpose of going there, then you can truly get some great advice for your trip. But if you paint it with a big old brush, you're going to get just a bunch of brushy advice. And you may run into some serious mistakes. But if you deep down understand why you're going to the Philippines or Thailand or anywhere else, then you can come up with a real plan and you can be successful. It's not easy to know someone, it's not, and that's the problem. And not only do you not know each other, because like if you're dating in the same state, you see each other all the time. You have pretend sleepovers. You know, you have things. You get intertwined. You know what's going on in each other's world, what's really going on. When you thrust these two cultures together in a short amount of time on a whirlwind, all hell can break loose. You got to be super patient and super understanding. And it can break a lot of young couples. A lot of the young girls who marries that old creepy 80-year-old guy, they just realize what happened. Oh, I just married some creepy-ass 80-year-old guy who can barely get it up, and he won't give me the money. I'm not going to get anything out of this because he's leaving all of his money to his kids from his second, third, and first wives. So here I am just taking care of some old-ass man who can't pee, right? So it doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's why you got to be super patient and understanding. The biggest key to success in this manner is understanding what you're getting into. Understanding that this new relationship is a hellfire. For the first couple years, it's going to become hell and high water. You're going to fight like cats and dogs. You're going to bitch and moan like cats and dogs. Everybody's going to be taken advantage of. Everybody's going to be misused. It's just the way it is. But if you go into this knowing the pitfalls, the downfalls, you recognize them, and you know this is going to happen, you can survive them. Never rush to get into a relationship. You will look like you're desperate. These ladies will sense it. Well, they do. The ladies can sense it, and we can sense it in them. Right, Tim? So there's a lot of guys that can sit, and now the weird thing is this, there's a big difference. Guys are real simple. I mean it. When a guy is ready to get married, he's ready to get married. The next girl that crosses his path, that wants to get married, that likes him, that thinks he's good, he's there, he's done. All right, that's good. Checked all the boxes. Yep, pretty. Yeah, she looks good. Likes to have sex. Yeah. You know, she's all right. I like to hang out with her. Yeah. All right, well, okay. That sounds good. Let's get married. Because when a guy gets to that point where he's ready to settle down, it's just the next girl. It is. Women are different. Women are always looking and fishing for better because they want to remember their primal need is financial support. And I just don't mean dollars, and I don't mean this in a bad way. They want security. They do. They want comfort, security in their lives. They want to know that they're safe and secure. But not every man can do that. But every man knows every girl can have sex with you. So when the man is ready, they're just ready. They just go, all right, whatever comes across the board. Don't use the dating apps. Dating apps can be problematic. I don't recommend. I prefer you meet people one-on-one and through other people like us. I do think Tim is right about being too pushy. You scare, if you do, look, unless, and I don't mean to step on anybody's toes, but if you're not a good-looking man who is physically fit, and have your shit together financially. So if you're not physically fit, not fat like me, not old and decrepit like me, if you're disheveled like me, if you're bum looking like me, it's a different game. But if you're a decent looking guy, you're a happy guy, you're a good guy, you don't have troubles with women, then you can be more assertive and aggressive when dating women. The women are not going to be as offended when you come knocking on the door versus somebody who's fat, old, and ugly, or decrepit, or whatever, because they know that you're kind of desperate. They look at somebody like me and go, well, he would be desperate to marry me because, granted, I'm better looking than he is. You know, that's how women look at men. But if they think you're on their level, then they are happy to get serious quick. Let me get caught up reading here. Security, Social Security, money from security, yes. Tony, no, brother, I'm just going on a vacation. I am 17 years old and have a friend in Dumageddon. They invited me for a visit. Good. I've been there, done that, just marriage. I've been there, done that. Try the tropics for a while. I think that's great. What I'll say about Dumageddon is it's the American Philippines. It's very safe, very boring, very, very American. So if you got friends that live there, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it. If you're not interested in doing the married thing, well, a lot of men go to the Philippines. No, I'm not interested in marrying, but once they get somebody, who smiles at them just the right way, bats their eyes and go, and then they kind of get alone with you and you go, holy shit and butt farts. Ooh! Before you know it, the wallet is open and the ring is coming out, even at 72. I hope you're healthy to enjoy the tropics. I tell people if you're going to go to the tropics, you need to be healthy. You need to be mobile. So, John, I was jogging 5 miles a day when I met my wife. See, John's not a bad looking guy. I've seen his picture. I mean, he might scare the ducks, but he doesn't scare me. And he's healthy. He's a guy in good shape. I can manage to walk to the trike stand, Tim says. See, Tim's doing good to the trike stand. So, if you're decent looking or considered a catch, then the women don't mind you being forward. But if you're old, fat, and ugly like me, they don't want you to be forward. They think, ooh, he must be desperate. So, I smell desperation on him, so I'm running away. I'm going to try to find my grandma for him to date. You know what I mean? That's what happens. But if you have something to offer that they want, and if you come in a nice package, then you can be very forward with women. John Maluch, you tried? You tired of running for? Yeah. Well, John always says he was chasing her around. So, but that's my thought on that. Is I don't know. You just got to understand these things and be prepared for these things. But Filipino women, I'm telling you, they got a secret sauce in hooking men. They just do. And I'm not going to tell you my video because it's going to be a part of my life, my playlist called "Living with a Filipina." My wife. I got it ready. I just need to publish it, but I'm waiting to publish it. So, John agrees with you there, Timothy. Yes, he does. So, Tim is absolutely right. We scare women away by asking them too many questions right off the bat. The best thing you can do is just say hi and move on, that's it. If they want to talk to you, they'll talk to you. But when you immediately has met somebody in 3 minutes and go, hey, where do you live? What do you do? Are you single? I'm single. Hey, can I call you? Can I super chat you? Or not? That's the wrong word. What do they call that? What do they do? What do you do with that? That green thing? I don't know. Can I talk to you on the phone? Can we FaceTime? Can we do all of these things? It's like one question after the other, digging deeper and deeper. They're going to go, something, big red flag. Just like we see it as red flag when they're too aggressive with us. And of course, they say, my phone broke. And I don't know if I can talk to you this week because I don't have the money to repair my phone. So this might be the last time that we get to talk for a while. Well, I can send you some money to fix your phone. Oh, that's great. Did you know Grandma died again this year? I mean, this is only the 5th time. Usually she dies 12 times a year. We know those are red flags. My friend Michael's in Dumageddon. He has been dating a Filipino lady for 2 years and are very happy. Yeah, look, I've been married for going on 12 years, and I'm very happy. I couldn't think of, one, I would never want to marry anybody else, because I never wanted to marry anybody else. Would I get remarried? No. If Lorelei passed away, I'd never get remarried. So I'm very happily married. You know, I dig it. I'm cool. I'm good. You know, she tortures me and drives me crazy, but that's the way marriage is. So I'm not saying you can't be happy. I'm just saying you got to be realistic about it. Just go to the coffee shop or the mall. Ladies will come to you. That's right. But there's always been connection that men go to the Philippines just to get married. Well, no. Let me say this. I think the concept that men go to the Philippines to get married, I think there's a lot of truth to that. A lot of men go there just to get laid. And then if they wind up picking up a wife during the process, they're okay. Because Filipinas make good wives. There's just no way around it. They make good wives. But you got to pick the right one, and you the man, have to be the right one for that Filipina. It's the same thing. Even though they are easy to marry, they're easy to fall in love with, they fall in love easily, it still has to be the right fit, or it's not going to last. But yes, there are 10% of the population that goes to the Philippines to go see the beaches. Yeah. 90% go there to get laid or to meet girls. Only 10% of the population could give a rat's that travel to the Philippines from America. 10% of the men or less are the ones that don't care about women at all. They might be looking for the lady boys. I'm telling you, I've been doing this all my life. Every man that goes to the Philippines has women on their brain unless they like lady boys. If sex is not on your brain, if female companionship is not on your brain, why would you go to the Philippines? That's the question. And that's an honest question. You could go to Aruba, which is closer, Mexico, Colombia, they got beaches. You know, it's affordable there. Panama's affordable. They got beautiful beaches. I see those red flags. Patrick says, yes. We all see the red flags, but here's what I want to ask you guys. Or what I want to tell you to do. Yes, we see, most of us, the red flags in women from another country. But what we don't do is recognize our own red flags to them. What are we doing that's a red flag to them? You know, I've been teaching you guys how to build your social media world in the mornings, remember? And this is kind of the same thing. We have to do a study analysis of our own behavior. What am I doing that's putting off a red flag? Because when I give out red flags, I'm not going to be successful. I'm going to wind up with somebody who only wants my money. I need to put off the right color flags so I can find the right partnership. But a lot of us men give off red flags ourselves. The problem is we all sit around and say, yeah, I saw these red flags from the Filipinas. Remember, you're giving out red flags yourself. All right. Tim's been with them on 11 years. I've been Lorelei 12 years. We've been married 11, I think. Going on 12. Pat grew mini skirts. You know, John, you know how it is. I came to the Philippines for mental health. And I do think there are men that come there, that go to foreign countries for mental health. I do. I agree with that. There's part of that 10% that does that. And I know a couple of guys, besides Tim, that literally went there, but they're married now or with somebody. It wasn't their intent necessarily, but they found that person and they've had a great life the last 20 years in the Philippines. You know, they had trauma from the wars, from the conflicts. They went to a safe place and all of that good stuff. Ken has to go to bed now. I'm calling it a night. You gotta know, gotta chase the women. Yes. Don't try to get a bar girl. No, I don't know about that. I have a lot of thoughts about bar girls. Tony says, again, I'm retired. I'm only got so many years left. I agree. I've been thinking about moving out of the States. Well, and you should, because look, I totally support the concept of living the best life you can. And if it's in the Philippines, then go do it. Don't really, but don't be surprised if you're not living with a girl before you know it. But go do it. You're 72 years of age. You're retired. If you should do anything you want at your age. You should go eat chocolate ice cream for your breakfast if you want. You should go travel and do any damn thing you want at the age of 72. That's my point. So we're telling you that. Let's see. Tony says, "Give me Gary will be my first visit on my travels." Give me Gary. You mean, are you friends of Gary? Did he change his channel name to Give Me Gary? Is an old guy about your age? Is that who you're talking about? Oh, Dumageddon. All right, because we have a friend named Gary that lives there. Be your first visit on your travels? Well, you probably won't go. You'll probably settle in there if you got friends. It's a very American-friendly place. It's expensive for the Philippines, but it's very American. My shoulders don't hurt in the Philippines. Well, I agree. The weather makes me 10,000 times better. I love the weather in the Philippines. I love it in Florida. That's why I want to go live in Florida. But I can go live in Florida and get the same warm weather benefit as I do in the Philippines, but have better medical. I can drive my own car without stress. I can go and do without stress. I can travel the rest of the world versus being just stuck in the Philippines. See what I mean? So I can get the warm weather issue in America, which I so desperately want and need. Good live stream, Ken says. It seems, see you in the morning. All right, Ken, appreciate you. Yeah, I'll be live at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to be working on our social media building. If you want to build your social media content in any way, shape, or form, we're going to be going over some of that in the morning. Good night, Ken. Tim, good night. You can take the girl out of the bar, but you can't take the bar out of the girl. Well, thinking of bar girls, I think you gotta look at that, Tim, and I think your statement is not inappropriate. But here's what I say. There are the girls that are bar girls out of necessity, and then there are the girls that are bar girls because they like it. What you want to do, if you bar girls, is you want to and discover the ones that are doing it out of necessity versus out of the fact that they enjoy it. Because to me, look, but then again, I don't have a problem with somebody's body count. I don't have a problem with if there's a girl somewhere who used to be a prostitute. Look, I get life sucks. It is what it is. I understand that people become drug addicts. I get it. Life is sucky. There are no perfect people in the world except for me. So I get it. So, and I think if we automatically cross everybody off that's bad or done bad things, then I think we shorten the pool and we don't give people the opportunity to blossom and grow who they are. I really, truly believe this. I believe you can take a girl that does bar girling, and maybe she's not a whore, maybe she's just a bar girl and she's hustling every penny she can get. That doesn't mean she can't be a devoted wife, a loving mother. Now the ones that enjoy it, that get off on being in that scene, that culture, that's a different story. If you bring them to America, you're going to be looking for trouble. I believe that. Because I do think there is a point in time where those type of girls who are doing it out of necessity, if they can find a way out, they will take it out. And once again, I don't blame any girl for wanting to change their stars. I don't blame any man for wanting to change their stars. I blame no man for wanting to get laid, wanting to have attention from a girl. I have problems. I have an age gap thing, about 20 years. I think people, if you're going to be happy in a relationship, you got to do 20 years or less. But I understand that an 80-year-old man has a big wallet, you know, and if he can get some 30-year-old girl to be doing the deed with him and he's paying her money and they're having a good time, well, okay. I have no problems with that because they are adults. They know what the deal is. I have no problem with what anybody does as long as it's out in the open and the truth is there. Like, look, yeah, look, you know, I know you're only going to live another 10 or 15 years here in the Philippines. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to have some fun with you. I'm going to take your money and run. We're going to have a good time. I'll take care of you until you kill over dead. You know, we're going to live. I'm going to live off of you, but you're going to get something. I don't have a problem with that. I don't see it as a bad thing. I see it as a business deal, and I just don't have a problem with that. But you got to watch out for the ones who thoroughly enjoy screwing every man there is in the deck. You know, or ripping people off and hustling people. You got to be wary of those. And you got to be wary of the men that are the same way. There's a lot of men that think, hey, and especially in America, that they're players, right? That they're going to get their body count way up there. They're going to date this girl and never see her again and blow her off and act like, you know, hey, I like you, baby, baby. Ooh, baby, baby, come on home with me. Take her home, you know, do the deed. And the next day you don't even know what her name was, right? Happens every day in life. So men are just as bad, it's just different. It is. Men who have money want to have beautiful women around them. I don't see a problem with somebody who has a lot of money going, you know, I don't want to date ugly girls. I know I'm going to spend money on these bikini models, but I'm going to date bikini models that are half my age because that's what I want around me. And I got the money to do it. Do I know that's what they're doing? Absolutely. Otherwise, why would they come around me? I don't have a problem with that. As long as we understand the situation, I just don't have a problem with it. I don't. And I hope people open their eyes and aren't foolish. I mean, I feel sorry for this guy named Bill, was his name, who spent all of this money on bringing this girl to America, and the girl and her brother-in-law and sister had no intentions of this marriage ever to work out. So poor old Bill got hosed. I have a problem with that because that was deceitful. You know, if you guys like to lick dirt off the floor, as long as you both agree to do it and you enjoy it, well, there you go. Go lick dirt off the floor. So I'm one of those type of people. Kind of strange I am, I know, but that's how I see it. And do what makes you happy. You know, as somebody who's, you guys all know that I've been dead before, and, you know, I have tremendous trauma of a coma that I was in. When you go through hell in life and you survive it, you quickly learn and recognize that you should go and do whatever the hell you want to do. If you've been there, done that, go do it again. People have a tendency to be real shitty. I agree. And why? I go back to this thing that I say a lot of time about people judging people or telling people that they're wrong. Who are you to judge me? Who are you to tell me I'm wrong? Who are you to be shitty to me, right? I accept everybody. And look, I don't care that women are prostitutes. I don't care that men are. It's the world the way we live in. I'm not going to judge anybody for what they do or what they don't do. You know, that's your own personal business. I truly believe as long as you're not hurting somebody that doesn't want to be hurt, and whatever you do between the two of you is just fine. I am accepting of that because I know that's the reality of the world. We cannot force people to comply, to conform to our standards. That's why Bible thumpers drive my ass happy crazy. Because they're not looking at their own behavior. They're deflecting by trying to recruit members and raise funds for their God, instead of role modeling their own behavior and minding their own business. Pat says right on, because I think we ought to mind our own business. We don't have a right to judge somebody. Who are you to judge me? Who am I to judge you? That's where I stand. I mean, do I get irritated and I feel bad for people that, like these people? This poor guy just screwed up 3 or 4 years of his life. And now his wife has moved on to somebody somewhere else now. They're going to get a divorce. They made it easy for her to get out of there, and she'll find some other guy down the road. You know? Shitty. I don't like deception. Jamie's in the house. Good to see you. Jamie, I am here. Can't talk using text-to-speech, feeding. All right, feeding the baby. Feeding the baby. Judgmental. Yeah. What right do you have to be judgmental? And I know it's part of who we are because we're raised to be judgmental. We're raised to be racist. We're raised to be egotistical. We're raised to think our education is better than somebody else's. We're raised to think that men are better than women. We're raised to believe that wiener dogs are the best wiener dogs in the whole entire world. All other dog breeds suck, right? We are taught and raised to believe this bullshit instead of somebody saying you should make up your own mind. You should evaluate things and judge for your own self. Pat says, I don't go to church like I ought to. I had people ask me on YouTube. I do to answer them. Well, Pat, what you can just simply say is, what I believe or don't believe is really a personal matter. It has no relevance on YouTube. Just say that. What I believe or don't believe is a personal matter. That's what I tell people because I get it. Oh, you know, you get all the people on here about God and everything, which is fine. If you believe in God, I'm not picking on you. If you don't believe in God, I'm not picking on you. I'm just telling you to focus on your own damn behavior and don't worry about other people's behavior. Walk the walk before you talk the talk. That's where I'm at on things. Don't judge unless you be judged, remember? And we all have a tendency to judge harshly. At my age, I'm not trying to impress anyone with my lifestyle. No, at my age, I'm only trying to impress myself with my lifestyle. And I'm not doing very good, Tim. I am failing. I am the one. I am not impressed by my lifestyle. I'm just telling you. You know, I'm working on it, but it ain't working easily. Am I happy in a lot of ways? Sure. Am I miserable in a lot of ways? Absolutely. Can we ever achieve complete happiness? No. No, we cannot. Happiness, I believe, is something that you bump into, not something that is truly attainable. Don't judge anyone unless you are a judge. That's right, unless you're sitting on the judge. And then you can only judge them based on the law of the land. A judge can only judge on the law of the land, not morals and values, but the law of the land. And I think that's what it should be. But don't be ashamed of who you are, what you do. Take pride in it. Be happy with it. You know, because people can only attack you if you let them attack you, Tony, and everybody else. So I think you're doing right, man. You go have a good time in Dumageddon. I would go tomorrow if I would advise you. Get your passport. Make sure you got 6 months on it, past the expiration date, so it doesn't expire on you. Get your shit together. Have a credit card so you can get out of the Philippines in emergency if you need to. You know, plan for it, structure it, and go enjoy. It's easy. It's easy. You know? You'll meet a girl and your mind will change. I'm telling you, the Filipino women are really good at changing your mind. Shifty, not shitty. It's just that back in the day, things are different and people didn't treat each other like they do now. That's why I say shifty attitudes have changed your mind. I agree. Attitudes, and you know what it is why it is self-entitlement. Somehow we become self-entitled to tell everybody that they're wrong. And what it is there's not enough people who's gotten the jack shit slapped out of them. We no longer jack slap shit out of people. We never do it anymore. We live in a society that's become a whole bunch of wussies, cowards, is what we have. Tim says, happiness is a dream or a goal. It is always not attainable. It's like chasing a unicorn. It is. I am absolutely 1,000% positive you cannot attain happiness. You can only bump into happiness. So I agree 1,000%. It doesn't exist. Once you get to a certain age, like me, good health doesn't exist. You have to accept it for what it is. There's good days and bad days. I will never be healthy again in my life. Just the way it is. Happiness is the same way. Satisfaction is the same way. You'll be satisfied for about 5 minutes and then you're done. You know, the other reason attitudes and behaviors have changed so much is because of social media. Now, I like social media. It's making me some money, and I like that because I'm poor, and I don't want to be poor. So social media gives everybody a platform to hide behind. Because even now, you guys see my face, but there's not a damn thing you guys can do to me. I can tell you any damn thing I want, and what are you going to do? You're going to criticize my YouTube channel? Woohoo, right? So even me with my big head out here versus the keyboard warriors who feel bold and empowered not to ever show their face, but to attack people, social media is giving everybody a platform that they think has empowered them to tell you how wrong you are. You know, it's kind of like I say a lot of times, I got a sister who's a gigantic Bible thumper. I have no problem with people thumping their Bible. The problem is, in her world, she's taught and she believes, and she tries to say this, that if you don't believe exactly what I believe, I don't care if you're a good religious person. So if I'm Baptist and these are Methodists, and Methodists and Baptists are like brothers and sisters, real close. But by God, I'm Baptist. So even the Methodists are screwed up. They're wrong because they don't believe what I believe. And social media helps them with that. And that means everything. Sex, identity, gender roles, whatever the hell that is, weather, everything. It gives them a platform to hide behind, and it gives them a platform to be judgmental. Before social media, you couldn't be judgmental because nobody gave a shit. Nobody heard you. You didn't have a platform, a bully pulpit, to be judgmental on. And that's the difference in modern day's world is social media. Social media is one of the greatest resources and tools in the history of the planet, but it's also probably one of the biggest problems we have on the planet in the history. Everybody can live in paradise. They just make the best of what you have and how you recognize it and apply it. I agree. And paradise is different for everybody. My paradise is not your paradise. I teach all the time about richness, being rich. My definition of being rich is going to be much different than Tony's and Pat's and Jamie's and Tim's and Ken's and Dennis. My definition, when I say, if I ever achieve that point where I say, I feel like I'm rich, is a different definition than yours. And that's the reality of life. Some people are really good people and they say, well, I am very rich because I have somebody who loves me. That's all they want. They want to be loved, so they get that. And so therefore they've met their goals. Others have an ideology of big houses and cars and helicopters and jet planes. Until they achieve that, they're not rich. So it all depends on you. Yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, today's a gift. Yes, yes, it is correct. That's a great saying. The only person you have to get better than is yourself. I would agree. Self-reflection is important if you want to get better. But here's what I tell people that we have to accept and understand. Not everybody wants to do better. because not everybody sees the need to do better in our view. So what we think is better, they might not think is better. I've had family members who like to live in a shithole. They liked having a lot of crap around them, junk cars, messy ass yard, and it would drive somebody like me insane because I don't do that. And I would always think, gee, you guys could live so much better if you put forth a little bit of effort. The problem was they thought they were living their best life because they could run around and say, man, we got 2 boats in our yard. We own 2 boats. We got 4 cars. Forget the cars don't run. But still, they got 4 cars, man. They're living the life. They're living the dream. We got a house to live in. Holy shit and butt farts. Jamie says, it's crazy because I feel like people from different parts of the country also feel that if you make a certain income, that's what defines you as rich. I agree. But I think that's normal. Because what unit of measurement? Rich is traditionally dollars. So that's how we do. You know, different parts of the country. If you make 150 grand a year, you're pretty wealthy. Some parts of the country, you need to make over $1 million a year and you're doing well. See? I think that's normal because that's what we've been taught. That the rich are the ones who have the money. Money, 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 money. You can't be rich without money, which is not true. If your richness is just having kids and a simple life, being debt-free, having a good time, raising your family, doing what you want to do, that's you being rich. That's an example. But that's not what we're taught. Society teaches us, because it's an engine. Society teaches us that we got to go over the wealth. We got to get the money. Because as we chase money, everybody else makes money. It's an engine. And all of us driving and striving for bigger and better, more and more and more is what keeps the world going. That's why we're taught that. That's why we're all convinced and told in the last 50 years, you buy a starter home, then you buy a nice home, and then you wind up buying a retirement home. Versus the people of my grandparents' generation bought one house, lived in it from start to finish, raised their families and grandkids in the same house. They didn't need a starter home, a middle home, and a retirement home. They didn't need it. You don't have to go to any church to be religious. That's correct. Same way. Same way, Tim. You're correct. You're absolutely correct. Living beyond their means with a lot of bills. Yes. And I think the majority of the people live beyond their means. And I think when you do that, you prevent yourself from enjoying the small richness. Because when you're stressed and worried all the time, but then again, some people don't worry about stress. I'm going to spend it today. If I get it tomorrow, then hey, if I don't, who cares? I know people that literally don't care about tomorrow. They're only living for, and some of the Filipinos people do that. They're really big on, I got $1 today, I'm blowing $1 today. Tomorrow I'll figure it out. Which somebody like me would drive my happy ass, or does drive my happy ass crazy. Very true, Tim, he says. Society teaches us to have material things. That's correct. Society teaches that. And who drives society? Companies. Right? The financial institutions. They keep telling us you got to have more and more and more and more. They keep doing it because that's how they make money. That's how the rich get wealthier, by convincing us to buy more hats. But coming from Detroit, I always thought that like somebody who made 60 grand a year was a lot of money, till I saw my brother's 5,000 square foot house and realized he made 200 a year. Yeah, you know. And in some places, 200 a year is nothing, you know. Sadly, we live in a very wealthy place right here, right now where we're at. And I would very much like to move to Florida or Alabama, but only a part where it's not as rich as our place here. So I agree. I can't afford to pay cash and buy a candle. I could. Or I can just enjoy myself, go on vacations, and enjoy life with friends. Yeah. You can choose to be house poor. A lot of people go for the house poor. You know, would we like to have a nicer house? Yeah. But we wouldn't have the money to go on a cruise in October. I would like to have another car. I'd really like to have a nice luxury SUV for traveling in. If I did that, that's going to screw up my plan to go to Florida and to retire in Florida. I'm attempting to live like a minimalist. That's good. I think that's good. It's really hard. We've tried that. It didn't work. It's really hard, but if you can achieve it, I think it's a good thing. Once we realize that we don't need everything in the world to be happy, once we realize that material things, I got so much shit around me. You know, I mean, I don't need all of this stuff to be happy. It doesn't bring me happiness. Charlie and I are minimalists. I literally have one pair of sneakers, one purse, 2 dressers in the whole house. Our couch, very limited kitchen utensils. Less is more. I agree. Less is more. It is. I totally agree. And that's a deep, deep subject. And you all got to individually reflect upon that. That's why right now I'm in the process of downsizing. Well, and look, and not to criticize your age, but at 72 years old, you need to be downsizing your estate. You know, and because this is a question that I wrestle with. Look, we have no children. If my wife and I die tomorrow in a car accident, who's going to get all of our money? I'll be dead. Who gives a shit? So we should use it to our benefit. Also meaning, you know, we should have a cheaper place to live, hopefully in Florida, more affordable, that's paid off, so that we can take more trips. That's how I see it. So I totally agree. But at your age, you should downsize. You should give shit away to friends and family, if you have them, that you don't need or you don't want. Give it away. What are you going to do with it? All it means is that when you do kill over, somebody's going to have to clean out your ass house. Same thing with us. You know, if we killed over yesterday, somebody's going to have to come here and make sense of all this shit in this house. What are we doing with it? What are people going to do with it? People don't need this shit in my house. I don't need this shit in my house. That's why we need a bigger house, so we can put more shit in it. Take your time, liquidate. That's correct. What you don't really need or want anymore. I agree. Don't think about shipping shit to the Philippines either. Everything you need, you can buy in the Philippines. Why buy it here and ship it? Don't do it. Get rid of crap except for the clothing that you need. You know, the few items, and then get rid of everything else. You can buy what you need in the Philippines if you're going to live there. See? There you go. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm 72, still healthy, but I don't want my older sisters to go through things. Right. And remember, you can pocket that money into your bank account and use it for fun and entertainment. I have learned the hard way that personal experiences, memories are worth way more than the really nice Lincoln SUV that I would like to buy. Going on a cruise, making memories is better than that Lincoln, even though I sure in the hell would like to have that Lincoln. You know, I like to have my house paid off. That's my primary goal in life, is to be debt-free from a house. Could I buy another boat? Sure, but that's a waste of money. Why I have a 25-year-old truck out in the driveway is because I'm not going to let $60,000 sit in my driveway that barely gets driven 1,000 miles a year. Not going to do it, right? What are they going to do with your shit? And it's a burden on others. I mean, I got a brother in Dallas. He would have to come all the way to Dallas, from Dallas, and figure this shit out. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But sell what you can, pocket the money, and then enjoy the cash. Cash is always better than things. I'm a big believer in that. That's why my wife and I have a big difference in life. She doesn't have a problem having a mortgage. My primary goal in life is to get her a house that's debt-free before I die in 9.5 years. That's the number one goal. She needs to be having a home debt-free. She's like, well, you always got to pay rent if you don't own. I'm like, yeah, but if you own, you don't have to pay rent. So she looks at it as just paying rent. That's just the way the natural course of life is. I don't see it that way. Do you got to pay your carrying costs, insurance, taxes? Sure. But you shouldn't have to keep paying rent. So my primary goal in the next 9.5 years, I probably got less time than that to do this, is to get a house paid off. Because then she is free to live the life that she wants and that she cans after I'm dead and gone. So that's just part of my thought process on that. So, and I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I'm wrong. I'm not saying anything. I'm just telling you. And I think everybody has to decide what's important for themselves. If we had children, would I be pigeonholing money for the kids? Sure. Would I be setting up other things for them? Yes, but they would be structured. That's why whenever Charlie buys clothes for the kids, we will receive toys for the kids. I actually immediately go through their older toys and clothes and take them out of the house to donate. That's the best thing to do. I need to clean out my clothes and stuff just to be able to use. Yeah, I got enough clothes to last me a lifetime. I do. We've bought on clearance a lot of clothes for me and Lorelai really, really cheap. Now, we do give a lot of clothes away. We buy a lot of things on clearance that we give away as birthday presents and gifts. That saves us money personally. But I have lots. I have lots of stuff. I have more stuff than you can imagine. Would I like to have more tropical shirts? Sure, but that's just me being David, right? Do I need more shirts? No. Do I really want more shirts? Not really, you know. If I get, and there's been times that I've received free shirts, and I think I've sent some to some of you guys here on YouTube. I know I have. I know I've sent some free shirts out from Arkansas Razorback shirts. I got a bunch of those given to me one time, and I've had some tropical shirts that were given to me that were way too small. I've given those away. My neighbor, when we moved in here 5 years ago, however long it was, he's a bigger guy, but not as big as I am. I just received some really brand new, beautiful tropical shirts from a sponsor. They wouldn't fit me. I gave them to him. He thought it was the greatest thing in the world to have some really cool shirts. I actually have eventually to get new clothes donated, everything that I have below a certain size. After Bruce and Maybell, I got rid of maternity clothes. Now I have mixed match clothes. Yeah, that's where Goodwill comes in. But enough for all 4 seasons. Well, and I will say, look, you do sometimes got to do things for an investment. And here's what I mean. I tell, look, if you're going to get a job and you're going to work a job, then you need to fit an image, then you need to dress the part. You got to go out there and invest a little bit of cash into buying a nicer outfit to be management. And that's okay. You don't got to spend a lot of money. Go to Helping Hands, Goodwills. You can pick up used clothing really cheap. But if it helps you make money so that you can live a better life and pay your bills, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a hillbilly. Always walking around and I know. You're walking around with no shirt on the internet. I got complaints about you the other day, John. People saying, hey, have you guys seen that bald-headed guy? He's blinding me. Not only has he have no hair, but he has no shirt on. I would like to walk around without a shirt on, and I do in my house, but I have enough respect for others that I don't walk around in public without my shirt on because I don't want people puking in the streets. Just saying. Now, I do highly recommend that women walk around without shirts on. I think that's a good thing. I do. Just throw that out there. But us fat people should keep our clothes on. Fat women, I don't mean to pick on fat women, but I'm a fat guy, so let me say, fat women, you guys got to quit wearing Speedos. Okay? You got to put some damn clothes on. when you're 400 pounds, nobody wants to see your belly. Sorry, nobody wants to see that. You're not sexy. You're not pretty. You're not hot. You look like somebody gave you clothes way too damn small for yourself. Man, I'm a mean guy. Yeah, Tim, I don't either. I go around the house without a shirt. I keep one on the couch. That way, if anybody knocks on the door, if I got to go out to the truck, I can throw a shirt on. But when I'm in the house, I don't wear shirts. I don't. I don't wear hardly socks ever, but I don't wear a shirt in the house. Chunky chicks, yeah, don't do it. Chunky is one thing, but blimpy is another. I hate to pick on fat people, but I'm a fat guy. I'm not, look. And I think everybody, we went back to this earlier, would be much happier if people dressed appropriately for their body types. I just do. Think about when we dress, we should think about others. We should think about ourselves, but we should think about others. So, Speedos, woo, yes. You guys all know my theory, and thank you all for subscribing to the channel, liking the videos. But why do I wear tropical shirts so much and hats? Because I like them. 2, it's also part of my image. It's also part of my psychology to feel good about myself. I wear things that make me feel good or to make me feel like where I want to be. I want to be in warm weather. So I wear shirts that remind me of a happy time. When I taught college, I wore business clothes. I wore clothes appropriate for the audience I was teaching. I don't wear shoes a lot of time unless I go out somewhere. Other than that, yeah, I have to wear shoes because I have flat feet, so I wear arch fit sandals everywhere I go. Pat says, I have no problem with big people, hot Filipino, more pushing for the cushion. Oh my God, Patrick. Patrick. You're a troublemaker, Patrick. I only wear socks when I go to the doctor's appointments or government. I don't wear socks at all. I hate socks. All right, my friends, I think let's wind this down. It's a little bit after 11:30 tonight. So we will be live tomorrow about 10 a.m. We're going to be discussing social media once again, how to make money, how to be a leader in the industry, how to accomplish all of the goals that you have, not only in your social media life, but your personal life and everything else. And we do it all for free. So Patrick's a troublemaker. Doctors told me my socks didn't match. There you go. We'll take them off. That way you don't got to worry about it. So we appreciate everybody. Jamie, John. Everybody came in. Tim, Tony, everybody else. Ken's already in bed because he's old. He can't stay up late. More pounds per pound. I'm mean, Tony. I'm a mean man, Tony. But we will be live again Wednesday night at the same time. We'll be live Friday night at the same time. In the mornings, about 10 o'clock every morning. My target is 10 o'clock in the mornings for 1 hour. We're going over a book review. We're learning some things. And then I go do whatever I'm doing. So take care, everybody. We appreciate you. John, we appreciate you coming back and joining us. We've missed you being on the live streams. So we do. We're glad you're back in the house, John. It's good to see you, buddy. Good night, everybody. If you need me, just reach out. You know how to get a hold of me.